Hello everyone, my name is Maddox Mary, and today I'd like to share some strategies for teaching literacy in an ethical, culturally responsive, and inclusive way in an 11th grade U.S. history classroom. As secondary teachers, we often think of ourselves as history teachers first, but every day we're also teaching students how to read, write, speak, listen, and think critically. Literacy is essential in social studies because students are constantly analyzing historical documents, evaluating evidence, and discussing multiple perspectives and writing arguments supported by evidence. Before planning instruction, we have to understand the students in front of us. In an 11th grade classroom, students can vary tremendously in their academic abilities, social emotional development, cultural backgrounds, and language proficiency. Five characteristics I think especially important to consider include students have different reading comprehension levels. While some students comfortably analyze primary source documents, others struggle with historical vocabulary or complex sentence structures. Second, students come with different levels of background knowledge. Some have extensive knowledge of American history, while others may have very little prior exposure to certain historical events. Third, many students are still developing socially, emotionally. High school students often worry about peer acceptance and may hesitate to participate if they're afraid of giving an incorrect answer and therefore being made fun of. Fourth, classrooms often include students from a wide variety of cultural backgrounds and life experiences. Those experiences influence how students interpret historical events and connect with course content. Finally, many classrooms include English language learners or multilingual students who may understand historical concepts but need additional support with academic vocabulary and reading complex texts. Recognizing these differences allow us to design instruction that is accessible without lowering expectations. Standards. For this lesson, I would focus on New York State social studies framework by having students analyze historical evidence to evaluate multiple perspectives on a significant event in United States history. The literacy focus would align with New York State English language arts reading standards for literacy in history and social studies, specifically having students cite evidence, determine central ideas, and evaluate an author's claim. These standards naturally complement one another because the historians rely on strong literacy skills every day. For my informal text selection, I would use excerpts from the Declaration of Independence, along with selected writings from Frederick Douglass, particularly his What to the Slave is the Fourth of July. To pair with those historical documents, I would use The Killer Angels by Michael Shara. Historical fiction allows students to see historical events through the eyes of individuals while reinforcing many of the themes discussed in primary sources. Pairing nonfiction with historical fiction helps students compare factual evidence with narrative interpretation while strengthening reading comprehension and historical thinking. It's equally important that texts we select are culturally responsive and free of unnecessary bias. Students should encounter multiple voices and perspectives so that they understand history is complex and often experienced differently by different groups of people. One instructional strategy I would use is a structured based inquiry. Before students begin reading, I would activate prior knowledge using historical photographs, political cartoons, or short video clips related to the topic. Next, I would pre-teach important academic vocabulary using visual supports and student-friendly definitions. Students would then work in mixed ability groups to analyze historical documents using guiding questions and annotation strategies. Throughout the lesson, students would discuss evidence with one another before sharing ideas with the entire class. This strategy supports reading, speaking, listening, and writing while allowing to build confidence through collaboration. Another important responsibility of educators is recognizing our own bias. Tasha Childs argues that biased teachers can fail to create the relationship between a student and a teacher that is necessary for educational growth, as well as the student feeling safe in the classroom. I believe effective teachers should continually seek professional development, listen to diverse perspectives, and evaluate instructional materials to ensure they accurately represent historical evidence and experiences of different groups. From a Christian worldview, every student possesses inherent value and dignity because each person is created in the image of God. This belief encourages teachers to treat every student with compassion, fairness, and respect regardless of culture, language, or background. Culturally responsive literacy instruction reflects these values by ensuring every student has a meaningful opportunity to participate and succeed. When students work collaboratively, respectfully discuss differing perspectives, and learn to appreciate the experiences of others, they not only become stronger readers and writers, but also more empathetic citizens. Literacy instruction is not limited to English language arts classrooms. Social studies teachers play a critical role in helping students develop reading, writing, speaking, and critical thinking skills through authentic historical inquiry by selecting culturally responsive texts, differentiating instruction, promoting respectful and responsible discussion, and continually reflecting on our own practices. We create classrooms where students feel valued and capable of success. Thank you for listening, and I hope these ideas provide some practical strategies for creating an inclusive and literacy rich U.S. history classroom.